Before Rome had emperors, it already had the city that made emperors possible. The Republic built the roads, bridges, temples, and public spaces that turned Rome from an Italian power into the center of a growing Mediterranean world. Some of those places are still here, including one tied directly to the murder of Julius Caesar. In this video, we're visiting 10 sites older than the empire, the surviving bones of Republican Rome. Ready? Let's roam. Number 10. Basilica Aemilia. Basilica Aemilia stood on the north side of the Roman Forum, right where the Republic's daily life was busiest. This was not a shrine set apart from everything else. It belonged to the crowded working edge of the Forum, where business was done, lawsuits played out, money changed hands, and people pushed through the center of the city. The first basilica here was built in 179 BC, when Rome was growing richer, more crowded, and harder to manage with older spaces alone. That is why the site belongs on this list. The Republic did not run on speeches and elections by themselves. It needed buildings where ordinary civic life could actually happen. Even in fragments, Basilica Aemilia still tells you the Forum was not just ceremonial, it was functional, tense, and full of movement. Number 9. Forum of Caesar. The Forum of Caesar belongs to the Republic, but it already feels like something else is on the way. Land for the Forum was already being acquired by 54 BC, and the complex was inaugurated in 46 BC after the old Forum had become too cramped for the capital Rome had become. Caesar's new space was centered on the Temple of Venus Genetrix, which tied his public image to divine ancestry in the middle of the city. That is the key to the whole place. This was still Republican Rome in form, but the scale had changed, and so had the politics behind it. The Forum served public purposes, but it also advertised one man's wealth, reach, and ambition. You can feel the old system still standing here, but under pressure. Rome had not become an empire yet, though it was already starting to look like one. Number 8. Circus Maximus. Circus Maximus was already ancient by the late Republic, but Caesar made it bigger, more permanent, and much harder to ignore. The valley between the Palatine and Aventine had hosted games for generations, yet by the 1st century BC it had become one of the city's great public theaters, a place where huge crowds gathered and where prestige could be displayed on a massive scale. This was not just entertainment. In Rome, crowds mattered, and places that could command them mattered too. Most of the structure is gone now, but the valley still gives away its size. You can still feel how much space the city devoted to spectacle and how closely spectacle had become tied to power. Number 7. The Republican temples at San Nicola in Carcere. San Nicola in Carcere is a good reminder that ancient Rome usually survives in layers. In antiquity, this was the Forum Holitorium, the vegetable market near the Tiber, a working district where trade, traffic, and religion all sat close together. 3 Republican temples stood here. Later, when the medieval church was built, those older remains were folded into the structure instead of being cleared away. That is what makes the site so good, both visually and historically. You can still see Republican temple architecture inside a later church because Rome kept building over itself without fully wiping the older city away. That also suits the district. This was not some distant ceremonial zone. It was a market area by the river, noisy, busy, and practical, the kind of place where sacred space and commercial life overlapped every day. Number 6. Ponce Aemilius, Ponte Rotto. Ponte Rotto has one of the best outlines in Rome because it looks ruined and immovable at the same time. What survives is a single arch of the ancient Ponce Aemilius, Rome's first stone bridge across the Tiber. The crossing took shape in the 2nd century BC, when the Republic was investing more seriously in permanent infrastructure inside the capital itself. A stone bridge tells you a lot about a city. It tells you this route was important enough to fix in stone. It tells you the crossing was no longer meant to be temporary. It tells you Rome expected this part of the city to hold together for the long term. The bridge was damaged, rebuilt, and eventually reduced to the fragment you see now. But the fragment still does its job. It cuts into the river like a leftover piece of Republican confidence. Number 5. Ponte Fabricio. Ponte Fabricio is still doing what it was built to do. Completed in 62 BC, it links the left bank of the Tiber to the island, and that continuity is what gives it so much weight. This is not a monument that survives only because people stopped using it. It is still a crossing. That makes late Republican Rome feel much closer than a temple or forum ruin often can. The city was politically unstable by this point, but Roman magistrates were still building practical infrastructure with extraordinary durability. That is the strength of this bridge. It solved a real urban problem so well that later generations never abandoned the solution. More than 2,000 years later, people still move across it on foot. Number 4, Temple of Hercules Victor. Temple of Hercules Victor stands out the moment you see it. In a city where rectangular temple fronts became standard, this round marble temple in the Forum Boarium still feels unusual. It was probably built in the late 2nd century BC in the old cattle market near the river, and it belongs to a Rome that had already been changed by conquest, wealth, and deeper contact with the Greek world. You can see that change in the building itself. It is often described as the oldest preserved marble building in Rome, which tells you a lot about the city that built it. Republican Rome was no longer building like a cautious inland power. It was building like a Mediterranean one, with imported materials, wider influences, and far more confidence in what the capital should look like. Number 3, Temple of Portunus. Temple of Portunus is one of the clearest surviving pieces of Republican Rome because it still reads the way Roman temple architecture was meant to read: frontal, elevated, and deliberate. It stands near the old river port in a district where trade, transport, and religion all met. Portunus was associated with harbors and gateways, so this was the right setting for his temple, beside the Tiber at one of the city's key points of arrival and exchange. The building you see now is usually dated to the late 2nd or early 1st century BC, though the sacred site is older. That layered history fits the Republic well. Rome kept rebuilding older sanctuaries as its wealth and ambitions changed. Later conversion into a church helped preserve the structure, but the building still belongs clearly to the Republican city. Number 2, Via Appia Antica. If you want to understand how Republican Rome spread its power, start here. The Appian Way was begun in 312 BC under Appius Claudius Caecus, when Rome was still fighting to secure control over Italy. At first, it was a military road, built to move troops south more quickly, especially during the long struggle with the Samnites. But once Rome had a road like this, it was never going to be used only for war. It became one of the great arteries of the Republic, carrying soldiers, officials, merchants, messages, and goods between Rome and the south, eventually reaching Brundisium, one of the main gateways to the eastern Mediterranean. It also became a road of tombs because burial was pushed beyond the city walls, which is why the route still feels tied to memory as much as movement. Walk it now and you can still feel what made it important. The paving stones, the walls, the tombs, the long straight stretch ahead. All of it belongs to a Rome that was expanding, organizing, and binding Italy to itself. Number 1, Largo di Torre Argentina. If there is one place in Rome where the Republic stops feeling distant, it is Largo di Torre Argentina. In the middle of modern traffic and apartment blocks, 4 Republican temples still stand in the Campus Martius, built between the 4th and 2nd centuries BC, when this part of the city was filling with monuments paid for by victory, ambition, and competition among Rome's leading men. The Campus Martius had once been open ground outside the old civic core, used for musters and assemblies, but by the late Republic it was becoming one of the places where power remade the city. And that is what makes this site so loaded. Just beside the sacred area stood part of Pompey's vast complex, including the first permanent stone theatre in Rome and the Curia of Pompey, where the Senate sometimes met after the old Senate house in the Forum was destroyed by fire. That is where Julius Caesar was stabbed to death on the Ides of March in 44 BC. So when you look at Largo di Torre Argentina, you are not just looking at old temples. You are looking at a place where Roman religion, conquest, prestige, and political murder all ended up on the same ground. These sites do not preserve Republican Rome whole, but they show the city the emperors inherited, already shaped by religion, engineering, rivalry, and political violence. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and tell me if you want a part 2 on deeper Republican Rome. Until next time, keep roaming.